Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 4. This is your Read Aloud lesson. And for this, you are going to want to get out your activity book, page 3.2. It's our foldable that we started. We're going to be listening to find out if these 5 vertebrate groups today are warm-blooded or cold-blooded. And then we're going to be circling that on our activity sheet. So you're going to want to make sure that you have this. It'll be the video that you watch right after this to complete that with me. So let's take a listen at lesson 4, warm-blooded or cold-blooded. Hi, boys and girls. I have brought along my slideshow once again. Today we're going to look at slides of my friends, some of whom are cold-blooded animals and some of whom are warm-blooded animals. By the sound of it, you would think that warm-blooded animals have warm blood and cold-blooded animals have cold blood, but this is not the case. The body temperature of a cold-blooded animal changes according to the surroundings or environment of that animal, whereas a warm-blooded animal maintains about the same temperature all of the time. I heard that you are keeping a foldable to sort or classify animals into groups. What a great idea! You are practicing taxonomy, the study of classifying organisms, exactly like taxonomists do. You're going to be learning how to sort animals in lots of different ways. Today, we're going to sort these 5 vertebrate groups into 2 smaller groups. By discovering some common characteristics, you'll learn how to tell which animals are cold-blooded and which animals are warm-blooded. Now, I'd like to help you understand a little more about cold-blooded animals. Boys and girls, the other thing you're going to listen for today, we're going to practice our skill of main idea and detail. So there's going to be some times where I ask you to listen for the main idea of the passage that I'm reading. Paolo Piranha lives in the country of Colombia on the continent of South America. He's a fish. His body temperature, the measure of how warm his body is on the inside, changes with his surroundings. Right now, his temperature is the same as the water in which he is swimming. When you go swimming, let me change the picture here. When you go swimming, chances are the water is colder than your body temperature. Paolo does not ever feel cold in water because there is no difference between his temperature and the water temperature where he lives. Have any of you ever used a thermometer? Perhaps when you are sick, your parents or a nurse might measure your temperature with a thermometer. When warm-blooded people get ill, their temperatures often rise or go up. A person's normal body temperature is about 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and it remains constant or about the same most of the time. That's very different from Paolo. The way in which an animal's body temperature is controlled determines whether it is a cold-blooded or warm-blooded animal. Remember that word constant means it stays the same. My friend Paolo told me that his internal or inside body temperature is never constant. It does not stay the same. He cannot heat his body from the inside like you. So his temperature must change with his surroundings in order for his body to work properly. He becomes hot when it is hot around him and cold when it is cold around him. Now, the next part of this passage, I want you to listen very closely and see if you can pick out what the main idea is. So you see, although you and Paolo are both vertebrates, you also have differences. One of you is cold-blooded and one of you is warm-blooded. You're right, you are warm-blooded. So that makes Paolo, yes, cold-blooded. Most fish are cold-blooded. In fact, most animals on Earth are cold-blooded. 2 of my other friends are cold-blooded as well. Does anyone know who else among them is cold-blooded? Next, I'd like to tell you a little about Anna Anaconda. So, what do you think the main idea was of that passage? If you said that vertebrates can be warm-blooded or cold-blooded, you're correct. That's what that passage was mostly about. All right, let's read about Anna Anaconda. Like Paolo, Anna lives in the rainforest of South America, but in the country of Peru. Does anyone remember what group of animals Anna belongs to? Yes, Anna Anaconda is classified as a reptile, and she shares some of Paolo's characteristics. They're both cold-blooded, but that doesn't mean that they don't enjoy being warm. Anna loves the heat. Her body is very long indeed, and she told me that one of her favorite things to do is bask in the sun, lay in the sun. The sun helps her stay warm, and her body soaks up the heat from the warm ground as well. Because she cannot control her own body temperature, Anna depends on the sun and her warm surroundings to keep properly warm. In fact, my other cold-blooded friend, Tabitha Toad, likes the sun too. And I actually forgot, there we go, there's Anna Anaconda in the rainforest of Peru, which is also on the continent of South America. Frogs and toads share some of the same characteristics as fish and reptiles. They use their surroundings to maintain or keep constant the proper body temperature. Yes, indeed, Tabitha Toad is cold-blooded, just like Paolo and Anna. And like Paolo and Anna, Tabitha is very comfortable around water. She comes from the Amazon rainforest in the country of Brazil. But just because her home is near the largest river in the world, it doesn't mean she lives in the water all the time. Tabitha and all toads are actually more comfortable on land, whereas frogs prefer to be wet. Tabitha is an amphibian, which means that she can live both in and out of the water. So I want you to listen to this next paragraph I'm going to read and see if you can figure out what the main idea is. So there you have it. Fish, reptile, amphibian. 3 groups of cold-blooded creatures. Their body temperatures change depending upon where they are, becoming warm when their surroundings are warm and cold when it is cold around them. Because they do not have constant body temperatures, they can easily become too hot or too cold. They have developed characteristics and behaviors so that they can live in certain habitats. So there's the paragraph I read. What do you think the main idea is? If you said that fish, reptiles, and amphibians are all cold-blooded, you are correct. And it tells us that right in the first sentence. Let's learn a little about 2 of my other friends, my warm-blooded friends, a bird, Ebenezer egret, and a fellow mammal, Hilda hippo. Mammals and birds produce their own body heat internally inside, which keeps their body temperatures constant, the same. One thing's for sure, Ebenezer egret does not put on a winter coat like you do when it's cold outside. Of course, he doesn't need to put on an extra coat because he already has a brilliant coat of feathers. Feathers help keep Ebenezer warm. Want to know an interesting fact that Ebenezer shared with me while I was visiting in South Africa? Egret's beautiful white feathers were once prized by hat makers who used them for the sake of women's hat fashion and beauty, not warmth. Imagine that. Birds that live in cold climates sometimes travel south for the winter to make it easier to stay warm and find more available food. Often, physical characteristics help an animal stay warm. Ebenezer wears a coat of feathers, and I wear a coat of fur. Are you wondering what Hilda hippo uses for a little additional warmth because she doesn't have fur? Let's take a look and see. I have a bit of news for you. In the hot tropical climates of Africa, where Hilda hippo lives, trying to stay cool is a more common occurrence than trying to stay warm. Hilda's body design is perfect for helping her stay cool. She has a nice layer of blubber that insulates her and helps her float. Hippopotami spend lots of time in the water of lakes and rivers to escape the heat. Can you see any other characteristics of the hippopotamus that help it stay in the water for long periods of time? Notice how having its nostrils, eyes, and ears on the top of its head lets the hippopotamus keep most of its body underwater where it can stay cool. Ebenezer also uses water to stay cool. Even though egrets can't swim, they do spend lots of time wading in the water, mostly to get their dinner. They feast on fish and toads and plenty of insects in order to store up the energy needed to control their body temperature. Well, everybody, our time is up for today. You have learned a lot about the taxonomy of cold-blooded and warm-blooded animals. So now you can fill in your foldable. I can't wait to see all of you again and continue with the show. Bye for now. So you're going to take your foldable, and what I want you to do before you watch the next video is take a gander and try to classify each of them. So this is fish, and you want to do the second box on the back and circle either cold-blooded or warm-blooded. And then I'm going to go over the answers with you, and you're going to submit it. Good luck!